morning. My name is Karen Mack, and I use she, her pronouns. And with Libby Stanforth and Mary Herman, we are the Ministry of Welcome and Membership. Welcome to you, old friends and new, young and old, in the Zoom and in the sanctuary. You are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first or your 1000th Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you are with us. We are one people with many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcome here. Today we'll be talking about what it means to be a person who commits and recommits over the long haul. We will be honoring our longest time members who exemplify this commitment.
Whoa. Okay. Our opening words come from the late UU minister, Kenneth Patton, who has been called one of the major poets and prophets of contemporary liberal religion. He's also the father of Clarice Patton, a member of our congregation. All life flows into a great common life if we will only open our eyes to our companions. So let us gather with the opening of all the windows of our beings, with the full outstretching of our spirits. Life comes with singing and laughter, with tears and confiding, with a rising wave too great to be held in the mind and heart and body of those who have fallen in love with life. Let us revere, then, this life, this precious time to be together, and let us learn to love. Karen will light our sanctuary chalice this morning, and for those on Zoom, you may wish to light a candle of your own. We light this chalice, a symbol of the light that shines in every human heart, to bring light and love to all who are outside the circle of respect and care, all who are lonely, all who are afraid. To pay attention to the stories, both painful and beautiful, of those with whom we share this world and this beloved community, and to celebrate the connections that thread our lives together, those threads of love that say we are all worthy, just as we are. Please stay seated and enjoy the anthem prepared by our choir.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
I'm Libby Stanforth. I use she, her pronouns, and I would like to take this opportunity to invite the children to come up for a time for all ages. So, can the congregation hear me? Okay, perfect. So by working together, in community, we find that we can do so much more than we can do just all by ourselves, right? So, just to prove that, I would like to see if somebody is willing to see how long they can hum a note, and Karen will time you. Maya, come on up. Okay, so Maya, when I say go, I'm going to have you take a deep breath and hum a note just as long as you can. Okay? Ready, set, big breath, hum. Yay!
13 seconds.
Pretty great. Does anybody else want to try it? Adore! Come on up. All right, Adore, get ready. When I say go, you're going to take a really big breath and then hum as long as you can. Ready, get set, big breath, hum. Awesome.
13 seconds.
They must be related somehow.
Okay. All right. Very nice, everyone.
I think we have one more who would like to
One more,
try.
please. One
Come
more.
on up.
Yes, we can improvise.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Are you ready? Okay. When I say go, Jack, you're going to take a big breath and then hum. Ready? Get set. Big breath. Hum. Nice job.
Very, very good.
Now.
Okay. So, how could we make sure that that beautiful hum doesn't go away? Anybody in the congregation? How do we keep it going? Lauren! Lauren says, take a break, take a breath. Thank you. That's right.
So, right answer, Lauren. So, if more than just one or two or three people hum, we can keep that hum going, because then when you run out of breath, you can take a break. And other people can keep on humming. So, we're going to try this as a whole congregation. When I say go, you're going to start humming. Now, commit to it. But take a break and rest when you need to, and then jump back in so that somebody else can take a break. Then take another break when you need it, and listen to the music, and then recommit. So, everybody, I'm gonna say, ready, set, go. You're gonna take a big breath, and you're gonna start humming. Ready, get set, big breath, and hum. Remember, take a breath when you need to. Other people will keep that hum going. When you go back, really recommit. Oh, this is beautiful. Boy, you know, you can't stop some people. That was beautiful.
We could have gone on like this forever.
And in fact, some tried.
So this is what a hum of hearts means. It is what we do when we pool our energies and create something wonderful together. Sometimes you are wholeheartedly bringing your voice, and sometimes you step back, knowing that others are singing the song. Everyone adding their voice, their efforts, taking a break, adding their voice back in. Doesn't that sound like us? We are the hum of hearts.
So children, thank you for joining our Hum of Hearts this morning. And now Yael is going to lead you downstairs for RE. And congregation, please join us in singing Go in Beauty. The words are on the screen and in your program.
Good morning. Good morning. And happy first week of spring, the gorgeous season of new life and hope. Today we're celebrating the gifts of our community and honoring 17 wonderful individuals who have given their time and creativity, their leadership, song, treasure, and commitment to keep this sanctuary vibrant and alive through the decades of their membership. Newcomers and members, we are so glad you are here to take part in this celebration. In preparing for this sermon, I couldn't help but think of this congregation's founding members way back in 1893, who against all odds brought this society into being. I tried to imagine what they were like, how they earned a living, how they managed to get here each Sunday. Was it by horse and buggy, or did they walk? What were their hopes and dreams? Times were tough. The nation was in the worst economic depression in its history. Amherst, a religiously conservative town back then, was home to Orthodox Calvinist clergy who forbade their followers to sing or dance and reminded them all too regularly that with the exception of an elect few, they could likely look forward in the next life to an eternity of hellfire and damnation. Now, the local newspaper noted that the prevalent view held in this town was that our denomination was lowering the morality of its adherents. Even so, with nothing except their shared values and dreams for their children, 19 individuals came together to start this church, creating something new, creating something they could believe in. This was brave, subversive, and risky. I can't help but think about those founding members' sacrifice, their decision to stay when it would have been so much easier to give in to the narrowness of the day. How they must have watched and worried, likely fretted about money and filling the pews, which we used to have. But they just plain loved this place into being. They did get some funding from the Unitarian Association to build this building, but for the most part, this little group was on their own. Free-range religious liberals with their free thoughts and unfettered thoughts by dogma and creed in a less than receptive Amherst. Imagine how deeply they must have wanted what we have found here, a refuge in turbulent times, like valued people of goodwill and good hearts and high ideals to go through life with. They came, just as we do, for the life-affirming news of universal love and inclusion, and to be reminded that there are things we need to do with our lives. Crazy ideals like equality, truth, justice, freedom, and democracy to uphold, needs to be met, problems to solve, and people to love. We are rooted in the soil of their commitment. Think back to the first time you came through our doors. You were looking for something. Perhaps you were coming from another religion that no longer fit. Or maybe you had just moved to the area and you were looking for people with whom you shared similar values. Or to belong somewhere where people welcomed you just as you are and with open arms, people with whom you could go through life with. Or maybe when you first arrived, you may not have been quite sure why you came, but perhaps you came for something more, something deeper, something transformative, something real. An unnamed longing for something. Life more abundant, love more profound. For those who have found what we offer, we are essential. Nothing else will do. It's a precious thing when you finally find the place where you can set down roots and feel at home, where you feel seen and heard, known and held. And we all deserve community like this. We come to share laughter and to create moments of joy and celebration. We come for music. We come to find comfort. We come to make a difference in this troubled world. We come for our children so that they will grow not only tender, compassionate hearts, but strong and resilient hearts. We come to learn to live with a sense of gratitude for being alive. And we find here a community that understands the motive force of love. A place like this becomes so important when the ground gives way, when everything you know for certain is turned upside down and you lose your bearings and you lose your way, or you find yourself in the midst of a global pandemic and can't remember the last time someone touched you. How reassuring to know that those people seated all around you are your people, and they'll be here for you. It is rare that any community can sustain the long and loving connection we see with our 17 honorees. Because a religious community relies on people more than anything else. And people, as we all know, while amazing, beautiful, and enormously fascinating, are also unpredictable and baffling, and yes, sometimes, well, snippy. I've heard it said that we actually join a congregation twice, once when we sign the membership book, and again when we're disappointed and we stay away. When we're disappointed and we stay anyway. Where are my glasses? Every person that joins and participates here changes us. Religious communities should change us and make us capable of things that we'd otherwise not dream of doing on our own. In some ways, congregations like ours are living laboratories where we might discover, through the give and take of our everyday relationships, the ingredients that make goodness in our lives and in the world flourish. A place to learn how to make our lives more congruent so that our values match our actions. There's a story I read in the New York Times several years ago. It's about the Stephen Wise Reform Synagogue, a vibrant, inclusive, liberal congregation in Manhattan. The congregation was in need of a new Torah, the most sacred object in any synagogue. And for those who might not be familiar, the Torah is made up of the first 5 books of the Old Testament and includes all the stories, poetry, and laws of the Jewish religion. A portion of it is read at the service every week. Each Torah is handwritten on parchment by a trained scribe. Each of the letters, which resemble hieroglyphics, is copied from a template, letter by letter, and is written with a feather quill. There can be no mistakes. But rather than have a scribe prepare it, the members of the congregation, along with their rabbi, chose to handwrite the new Torah themselves. Every adult and child in the congregation sharing the work and the honor of drawing all 304,805 letters, which comprise a finished Torah, every letter inscribed with quill and ink. And as an aside, synagogues never write it with any writing implement made of metal or steel, because those are used in building the weapons of war. So this was a big deal. Historically, in synagogues around the world, only men were allowed to handwrite the Torah. The first letter of the first word of the Torah was drawn by 92-year-old Helen Margoliouth. She faced the congregation, then stared at the immensity of the blank parchment. A scribe who supervised the writing of this Torah sat by her side, holding the quill, only to stabilize it. She tentatively grasped it an inch above his hand. "Hold it gently," he said, "and draw it down toward me again and again." And the letter appeared, Bet, the beginning of "in the beginning," and the congregation erupted in applause. It took a very long time for the 2,000 members to complete it, but they were committed. Every person's mark would be upon it, from the youngest child with a shaking hand to Mrs. Margoliouth with a shaking hand, as if each of them were authorized to write the whole story, the holy story of their common religious life. I love that image of a congregation invited and empowered to be all in. Each member knowing that they are needed and welcome to make their essential mark. And this is what happens in all healthy, vibrant congregations as well. Everyone belongs, not one person dispensable. Everyone invited to make their mark, each person contributing to the story of the whole. Our beautiful honorees, again and again, have been all in, showing up, stepping up, and singing out the truth that commitment over the long haul matters. Staying with a congregation over time matters. And how true that is for us, where we are called out, called here each week, from our busyness or complacency to envision the world as it might be, insist on the world as it should be, and then strive to live accordingly. We are here to sing an alternative song, to care for one another, to raise our voices bravely for the common good, and to demonstrate that we will not give up on hope or optimism or the possibility of transformation, because this is the kind of world we want to create and the kind of lives we want to live. And we do all of this together. An authentic community takes commitments from us, not overwhelming commitments, but on little acts of saying yes to doing something, but not saying yes too often. When we say it takes a village to raise a child or a community, remember, none of you individually is the village. And if any one of you is tempted to be the village, think back to the hum of hearts. The sustained sound we made could only happen when each voice rested a few breaths, knowing others would carry the song until they were ready to re-enter. This is how community is built. Generations after generations of members joining in the song of this congregation, whose names we might not know, but whose lives are built into this place. Honorees, your light continues to shine. We are a small congregation in a relatively small denomination, yet the realization of what is required to make a difference points us to what really matters most. And what is truly important is love. Scientist and humanist Carl Sagan said, "For creatures such as we, the vastness is bearable only through love." And I think he was right. Here we have the opportunity to become more than who we were when we first walked through our front doors. Here we've found a community where we can make the vastness bearable through our deep friendships, sustained action, our encouragement, and love. So may it be. Please rise as you are willing and able to join in singing "We Belong to One Another." The words are on your screen.
We belong to one another, to each other we are bound, as we build the world together, full of joy that we have found. What we are, we owe to others, when they need us, we respond. We belong to one another, and we hold a common bond. We rely on one another at the dawning of the days, when we learn from those around us how to live in loving ways. As we grow, we need each other, and the gifts that we can share. As our lives come to their ending, and we need each other's care, we give thanks for one another, for each heart and hand and face. We are grateful for the blessings that infuse our lives with grace. May we offer our abundance as we're given, may we share in our thanks for one another. May we help each other live.
Yes? Okay. Honorees, I was just about to, cry a little, looking at all of you and thinking about how much I love you. We would like to present each of you with a card and a small token of our gratitude. It's a chalice pin that you can put on your name tag if you wish, so that we can all be reminded of the amazing contribution that you have made to this society over the years. As we are calling your names, we will be thinking these words, adapted from Alan Seal. We stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before us, those who have taught us by how they lived their lives, those who loved us, shared their wisdom and their humor, those who in their own ways gave us strength and courage, clarity and persistence to light the path forward, those who blazed trails and made paths we walk on a little easier. In short, those who have helped make us who we are. When Mary calls your name, please stand if you are able, and Libby or I will bring a gift to you. Some of you are on Zoom, and we'll give you a wave and we'll get your card and pin to you at some point. Congregation, we ask that you hold your applause until after all the names have been called.
Janice Gray. Lynn Sussman. Kevin Noonan. Sue Hamley. Susan Barbaro. Fran Plumer. Louise Roseline. Some people could not be here today, sadly. Is she on Zoom? Yay, she's on Zoom.
Wait.
Oh, okay. Betsy Johnson. Helene Lambert. Carolyn Holstein. Linda Callahan. Kenton Tharp. Mary Wise. Gordon Wise. John Foster. Jan Cole Stryker. And Carol Rothery, celebrating 51 years of Marathon membership.
I have to come into a little bit of a meditative state. Each of us carries sorrows, and each of us is lifted by joys along the path of life. We honor these joys and these sorrows in community by speaking them aloud and by holding them in silence in our hearts. Come into this time of compassion, open your heart. A tune weaves under this moment of care. Spirit of life, love, and connection. We have come from the many places of our lives to show up to one another. We affirm that each of us brings the gift of our true self into our circle today. May we rejoice with those who celebrate this day. May every hurt be healed. May every sorrow be met with care. May we know that each of us is loved and called to share that love with the world. Blessed be. Amen. Please remain seated and join in our meditation hymn, Spirit of Life, which will be on the screen and is in your order of service. Please join me in saying the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Today, for our closing circle, for those of you who would like to, we're going to form a circle around the edges of the sanctuary, facing the center so we can see one another. When you get where you want to be, you can place your hands over your heart, you can link arms or hold hands, whatever you prefer.
Between us inspire and sustain us. May we be dreamers of what yet might be. And may we find the courage, the compassion, and dedication to answer the call of love. May it be so this day and every day. Go get paid.
That was a challenge, but we pulled it off. I don't remember you with your dark hair.
Recommitting.
Reckon. And I don't remember your dark hair. I always remember you gray. Isn't that funny? But you were.